And in a very special edition of Stuff That Matters for many reasons. First of all, this is the first time that we are in a room together recording, which is groundbreaking, to say the least.
I don't know if that's ever happened.
The three of us in a room recording the first time. And this is also episode 40. So happy birthday to the podcast, 40th episode. I'm sure... maybe me, but not many of us thought we'd get here a couple years ago to episode 40, and there's been a lot of groundbreaking episodes and a lot of highlights, to say the least. Not just with the Stuff That Matters podcast, but also New Hope in general. So that we're here to talk about today.
This is when things start getting good. I think after 40. No offense to any of our previous guests.
Right. We know what we're doing. Let's go.
40 is the new 30.
All right. So this is an unscripted episode. They're
Very
all unscripted.
Yep.
But there's a tiny bit of planning that goes into some.
Yeah.
So I think here I want to start with this. So Mike, I think the pod was your idea.
Really?
I think it was. I
have a lot of ideas. I don't know if I remember that one, but I'll take credit for it.
I think we were at a hotel at some I2I or something. I don't know if this was after
the North
Patrick
Valley
came
Marriott
on.
I2I, I think.
Yes, and I don't remember if it's before Patrick or after Patrick. AP
Pre-Patrick.
or yeah. So why don't you talk about like what was some of the germination of this idea? Because a lot of these guests are folks that you knew because you love hearing people's stories. But yeah, I think this idea was yours. It's your fault.
It's my fault. I'll take ownership of it. I think it was... I'm a podcast listener.
Okay.
And I like listening to all different types of subject matter and topics, and whether it's music, whether it's film, whether it's pop culture, current events, mental health. And I get a lot of, I don't know if it's entertainment, I just get connected.
Well, because you're driving all the time.
I'm driving a lot, and I listen to a podcast the whole way
Every
here
time.
today.
Okay.
And it was called It's the Cinephiles, and they broke down the film One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Nice.
It's kind of interesting,
I've heard
right?
that. I like that podcast. Yeah.
So I think it was based off of my experience listening to podcasts quite a bit.
Okay.
And I knew it was something that I think we could offer some content that folks might find interesting.
Yep.
And it also stems from whenever I meet somebody in my community, in my neighborhood, in my town, and the conversation comes around to, well, what do you do for work? And a lot of times where I live, it's folks work in the IT industry, or they're in the pharmaceutical industry. That's kind of RTP, RDU, Raleigh-Durham area. Mm-hmm. And when I say I work in behavioral health for kids, like, it just gets everybody's attention, and they're like, tell me more about that.
Yep.
And I was like, we should do a pod. And we didn't know what we were doing. Matt and I have no technical ability whatsoever. And then we knew we had to bring in somebody, not only for podcast purposes, but for somebody to help us tell our story better.
Right.
And that's this guy to my right. That's when we got Patrick.
Right. We needed somebody with tech savvy, somebody with some kind of an appealing voice of some kind.
Yeah,
right.
that's
some kind
Puzo.
Then we got Puzo. So, yeah, Patrick. So when you were talking to Mike about joining the team, and I remember even reading and listening to some of your stuff, because you kind of had like a demo reel, and I think you stood out. We were talking to a few people about being a communications person. We do want to tell our story.
Yeah.
But Patrick stood out. But what were you thinking you were getting into when you joined New Hope? Because, again, you're not from this space.
Right.
It's almost, has it been 2 years now?
It'll be 3 years in May.
Get out of here.
Patrick's
Yeah.
going on 3.
Going on 3.
Man.
2.5.
Okay. What's it been like?
It's been pretty surreal, I would say. I mean, the evolution of New Hope, I came in at probably one of the busiest times in this company's history, I would say. Because right when I started, I mean, Dallas was already in the works. Shortly after, West Virginia, all the different expansion, the growth, growing to 500 employees within my first few months. And then this podcast idea came on pretty rapidly, I would say. Because we started, summer of 2023?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's when the first episode dropped. It was already kind of pre-planned ahead of time. And I think, I mentioned to Mike when we first spoke on the phone, like I had already been in the podcast space a little bit, because I went to a broadcast school up in New Jersey for about 4 or 5 months right before COVID. And I learned about all the ins and outs of how to record a podcast, edit, produce the different programs and whatnot. And with a couple friends, couple classmates, I had podcasts already. So I already had some of this experience, and I had some demo reels like you pointed out. And yeah, Mike, I think mentioned like, oh, you know what, we're thinking about getting into the podcast space. And I think you may have brought this up, like no one in this industry really, or at least like, others that you guys are familiar with, had a podcast. So
Right.
Yeah, it was brand new.
Yeah. So it was a great avenue for us to share stories, enhance voices, welcome on different guests. And I don't even think at the time we thought it would be interview based. We were just kind of like, all right, we know such and such. Like we'll reach out to them, see if they're interested, and then from there, just kind of took
Yeah.
off. I mean, that first episode we did all the way back with, was it Beth Tyson?
Beth or Jenny, Lord.
She was maybe the second one, but I mean, her enthusiasm and like the story she told, her insight. I mean, I was like, this could really be something, and
Yeah.
I think that's where we kind of based our format and flow off of that first interview. Honestly, I couldn't imagine a better guest to have on than Beth
Yeah,
Tyson.
they crushed it. Yeah,
She was fantastic.
she's blown up. Too. She's absolutely
Yeah.
massive. Yeah. Not because of the
Not because
podcast.
Probably not
The podcast might have back for a second, but
She was on her way, and then we brought her back.
I
back
will,
on her way.
I will say that. So for 40, I love the name that we landed on.
Yeah.
I think the name is awesome because I think we were kicking around a handful of names. I remember being on like a flight and writing down a bunch of different names, and some were.
I think you get the credit for the name. To be honest.
Yeah.
I think I get the name. But I think in some ways that's like the origin story for me of the podcast, and a lot of what drives me is like there's just so much good that happens in this work, like in this field, like over the course of my. So we said
We got somebody rolling by the door here.
We're filming in an active facility, folks. No, but I just think like again, I look at my career, which is like 15 years at this point, and when I look back, it's like 95% good stuff. Like there's like really stressful days, there's really tough moments, there's some stress and there's pain and but for the most part, it's just like kids changing their lives, families getting, but it's like
Staff growing,
staff doing amazing stuff, people getting promoted, people being
Right.
more than they ever thought, and it's like so when I look back on it, I mean, just my day-to-day experience in the field is this is what an honor it is to do this work.
100%.
And I don't think that is the sentiment that is always out there amongst everybody, or it's not what the default setting I think is for this work, because I think sometimes people can just be a little doom and gloom, they can be a little beat down from the work, but I know a lot of just like happy warriors in this space, and I always just want to try to reframe the narrative of what this is, because it's not doom and gloom. I think some normies out there look at us and say, "Oh my God, how are you not like depressed every
Right.
day?" And
I had no idea that industry, like I don't even know that this thing existed.
Yeah, right.
You know, child mental health
but
or
to conceive of like
residential.
working at a place
Right.
with tough kids, like that's got to be terrible. It's like it's actually pretty awesome. I don't know what to tell you. It's not easy, but it's not depressing. It's actually like incredibly inspiring every single day. So that's where I think, and I think Mike, you, and we kept on looking and saying, I think this is also just coming off the heels of COVID.
COVID was
Just a lot of
kick in the
negative.
pants.
There's a lot of negative crap out there. Just a lot of negativity in media and all the stuff. We're like, God, there's just good stuff going on out there. Can we not just highlight that?
Highlight that stuff. And I mean, I said it, we had the town hall yesterday, our quarterly town hall. And that's one of the things that I keep pushing and trying to share with everybody is our story needs to get told.
Yeah.
And it needs to get told often, because there's no doubt in my mind today at this facility where we have 132-ish
Yep.
kids being served who have long histories of trauma and mental health issues and struggle and family issues and connectivity issues, whatever it is, and they ended up with us, and we're going to help that child and that family. There's like 10 miracles that have already happened here today.
Oh, 100%.
There's 10 things that went on where a staff member helped a child do something like get through their trauma narrative,
100%. Right.
or score an A on an essay that they wrote, or have a successful family visit.
Yep.
Those things that I said in about 18 seconds are all small miracles and steps along the way into that child and family's journey that is hopefully going to set them up for long-term success.
Yep.
And that is one of the things that when I was thinking about the pod, we got to amplify that.
Yep.
Those kind of things.
Yep. Yeah, and I think we haven't done this yet, but I mean, Patrick's kind of taken some offshoots of the podcast with Kiara, which is I think
Right.
just one of the
That's a
coolest
whole
things. That's a whole other world into itself. But even just doing more highlighting of some of our people and some of our staff stories, because so many of them have, like up till now, most of the first 40 episodes have been probably like executive level people at really cool organizations doing really cool things in the community organizers and stuff like that. But just on the team here, like we didn't want this to be a New Hope puff piece, which is probably avoided that. But man, some of the stuff, like I'm thinking about our end of year parties tonight, and we're gonna induct Miss Conyers into the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Patrick, you interviewed her recently. I think she's like 26 years in
Yep.
to a direct care staff career at an adolescent psychiatric facility.
She's been on the same side of the building her entire tenure. At
A
New Hope.
quarter of a century.
Yeah.
Quarter of a century.
And she's just the best.
And she loves what she does. She's here 6-7 days a week, whatever it is, and comes in with a smile on her face every single day. She treats the kids here like they're her own.
Right.
As we're hearing carts moving the hallway.
We are right outside the main hallway here.
Yeah, and I don't think if people even could conceive of who's the kind of person that works in a facility with really tough teens, I don't think people think about Miss Conyers.
No.
But Miss Conyers commands respect from every single kid in this building.
I think if you're to succeed in that type of role, you have to be someone like Ms. Conyers.
Oh, you got to be so special. I mean, I did direct care staff for a spell. I don't think I was special enough to do it as long as some of our team members. I'm just saying, so like even we might try to do more, because each of them have such a unique and interesting story, and it doesn't get told a lot. And I think in general, our space has a long ways to go with how they treat frontline staff. And I know that's something that we're all trying to be passionate, or we're all passionate about trying to do better than the norm.
Correct. I think of there's Miss Conyers, and then there's a lot of, especially here, a lot of folks who are similar to Miss Conyers in their dedication,
Right.
years of service. And I then take that and the juxtaposition, can't believe I used that word, I don't know if I'm going to use it correctly.
Stuck the landing.
But a lot of our kids have had multiple caregivers,
Right.
multiple settings, and the consistency of a Miss Conyers, to me, that commands respect. When a kid comes on to New Hope's LEAP program and Miss Conyers can say, I've been doing this twice as long as you've been alive, and I'm passionate about this.
Bananas.
I think that kid hears loud and clear, she's not going anywhere.
Right.
And I'm going to
I got
try
a
to do my best
stable-
while I'm here with Miss Conyers because she's going to be here.
Yeah, I got somebody I can anchor to,
Right.
which is not, again, sadly not the norm in this space, but seems to be the norm at New Hope more than. I mean, it's the first thing I noticed when I joined the team 4 years ago. When people started talking about their tenure, I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!" I remember somebody being like, "Yeah, I'm pretty new. I've been here for 7 years." It's like, what? You can't use a new guy card at 7 years. At my last place, your new guy card got hung up at 7 weeks. Like, there's just some staying power that I know we talk a lot about as the organization starts to grow. How do we make sure that special sauce goes everywhere? But all right, but that's the pod. So let's talk about 2025.
Busy year. A lot of growth, a lot of.
Feel like the year was like 8 years in one, but then it also went by
It
really
went
fast.
by really, really fast. For me, it went by extremely quickly. I remember this time last year wrapping up the budget projections for 2025 and thinking, boy, we got a lot of goals that we're going to try to hit, and hopefully a lot of these things come to fruition.
happen. Yeah.
And some of the things that jump to mind is I've been at New Hope for 16 years in February. We were always known as that large residential provider in Rock Hill, South Carolina. And
So I don't
we're
know
no
if that's
longer
picking
just
up on
that.
the mic, Sarah. That's so
it's
funny.
probably getting
We've
picked up
never
on
had-
A little bit, maybe.
It's
No,
like
that's
moving
fine.
day. But 15 of my years at New Hope, it's been, oh, you're that large residential provider.
Right.
We're no longer that. We are a residential provider that also does multi-levels of care, community-based services, MS, multi-systemic therapy. We have community-based workers in the communities where our kids are coming from in North Carolina.
Right.
We've expanded into smaller, lower levels of residential care, transitional group home, Dallas, North Carolina, West Virginia programming. And I feel like I'm probably even missing some of the great things that we've jumped into in 2025. I mean, that's a lot in itself.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that LEAP happened this year.
Oh, I
The
forgot
The
about
LEAP
that.
expansion
Yeah.
happened this year. That feels like it was 10 years ago
Yes.
to me.
I can't believe
that
that
was a
was this year.
project.
Yep.
We renovated, for folks who are listening who don't know, we renovated and expanded our autism program. There was 6 beds, one little hallway in kind of the oldest part of the building.
Yep.
And it was butting up against and divided by a wall with another program. We were able to get some investment dollars from a stakeholder. Basically spent $1 million to completely transform that corner of the building.
Looks
Supposed to
awesome.
be 6 months. Took about 18 months.
That's why it was this year.
It was a beast. Yes, it was. It was a beast of daily asking, "Is this done yet?"
Is
and
it
it was
done?
not done yet, and some fighting with construction and county and local. Anybody's ever renovated anything, it's a beast. But man, that, and I remember bringing in the community in the spring. I think that was probably March. Mayor Geddes came by.
Was it March?
it was March.
It might have been February,
Shredder on Spring
actually.
Break.
Yeah, it was right before we filmed Hurt, which we're
Yeah,
probably going to talk
that's
about
right.
that
That's
too.
right. But man, I mean, to go from 6 beds to 20, to take a 95-year-old corner of the building and make it look like it had just been built
right.
in 2024, 25 was so awesome. That was such a cool thing.
That was a big deal. That was a big
had,
deal.
again, that program had a wait list that had been wrapping around the block for 5 years.
That was the goal, is to take a wait list, a needed service, right? And recognize that it had a year-long wait list plus.
Right.
And we thought if we can expand this program, then kids won't wait. And that's actually come
Happening.
to fruition.
Right.
We now have almost a discharge and admission like readily lined up. The wait list is short. If there is one, it's fairly short. And I think we can take pride in that.
Yeah, I mean, 2 years ago, you think about it, somebody would call you, say, I've got a kid with autism who needs really, really high levels of care, and you'd say, we're going to put you on our wait list, but it might be 10 months.
Yep.
And now, because we expanded capacity, it might be 4 weeks.
Might be 4 weeks, and that's a much easier conversation to have with a family.
The 10
Far
month
easier,
conversation is
and it's
brutal.
really not about my level of comfort with the conversation. It's just really knowing that a needed service is readily available for the most part.
Well, and the families would wait 10 months because it was all that we had. There's
Right.
not a lot of people that are leaning into that population
Right.
in a residential. So that was, I mean, that kind of sticks out to me as the first big thing that happened in 2025. And like a lot of these things, there's so much behind the scenes work. It's like pushing a boulder up the hill so that when the boulder finally rolls down the other side, you don't really celebrate. You more just like
Take a deep breath.
collapse and you're happy to not be put. But it's good to celebrate that kind of stuff because that leap was just that was exciting. That was a win.
That was a huge win from every angle and every aspect you can view that from.
So, like you said, Patrick, shortly after that, we made a movie, as one does.
Yeah, naturally. That's what happens after we expand part of the building. We fund
So that was a weird.
yeah,
that was a
produce
crazy.
short film.
That was a crazy
And
experience.
that credit goes to Matt for writing the script.
Writing the script, and I mean, obviously, you could share more about what went behind that. I don't think you really didn't think to yourself, "I'm going to write a short film script." That wasn't your intent. It was primarily to tell a story that often gets misinterpreted, misunderstood. That was really what was behind it. And, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it all started as some things do with me being upset about something.
So you turned your anger into something positive.
I try to channel my anger into something constructive. Otherwise, it's bad news. So, like, I remember watching a documentary on Netflix called "The Program." I think it was called. It came out it kind of broke through broke through culture last summer. And it is a tough but effective documentary, but it's about a closed down boarding school in the Northeast, and a bunch of kids who were there visit the boarding school, and they're literally walking around with like flashlights, and they look and they go to this table and they say, "This is where the teacher used to hit us with sticks when we didn't do what we're supposed to do," and they'd go like, "This is the room where they would duct tape our mouths." The worst possible thing on the residential spectrum, the kind of stuff that makes Mike, me, and you just throw up in our mouth that we're even in the same stratosphere as these. And it was just hitting me because it's a boarding school. It's not a PRT, but it's residential for teens. And So the normies out there of the world are going to watch that and it got millions of
Normies
millions of
out
views.
there.
The normies, man, we're not normal. On this side of the world, we're
Totally
not
not.
normal. So like I'm talking about like my friends who are in banking and my friends who are teachers and stuff like that. Like they'll look at that and say, well, that's what residential care looks like.
Right.
And this is why some of the conversation around why residential care is not only not needed, but it's actually a net negative. That's where that stuff comes from. And those kids' experiences are true and valid, and that story needed to be told. But then I kept saying, like, yeah, but that's not what we are.
Right.
Like, that's not what we are. Even on our worst day, we're not that. But so I was trying to figure out a way. I don't want to tell New Hope's story because this is not like some self-serving thing. And there's been tough stuff that happens at New Hope. There are
Every residential program has
there's
its own stuff.
staff that do stupid stuff. There's tough days and tough nights. But like, so I don't know, that's where it started. I was like, what's the counter programming to that? What's the counter narrative to that? And because if we don't tell our story, then like somebody else is going to tell it for us, or somebody's going to assume our story was already told and that is our story. So yeah, I think just one night I wrote it in the middle of the night. I think I sent it to you guys. I said, I don't know if there's a thing here, but what do you think? But yeah, I was picturing a 5. I don't know what the heck I was picturing. I wasn't picturing what ended up happening.
Oppositional, defiant, documented repeatedly.
Failure to progress, violent tendencies. Let go! Not safe for community placement. Eyes up, Isaiah.
They don't know me, but they think they do.
I'm so sorry.
I can't help it. I piss people off. Then it's oppositional, defiant. Maybe I am. Or maybe I just don't know how to feel safe.
Patrick, from your seat and being our comms communications guy, talk about how you felt when this whole hurt thing started being put in pen to paper as the process unfolded. I'm curious what your perspective was on the whole thing, from the idea to the premiere.
Well, I'll
Like,
go
what were
back
you thinking?
to when I
That's a
first
good point.
received the script, and I remember reading it because I think that was really the first full script you had sent me. And it was vastly different from.
Now I send you to him all the time.
Yeah,
So
all the time. I'm now just the editor in chief. Like, yeah, I approve. Let's submit this to Fox Studios.
Thank you. Yeah.
You sent it to me. I think in 2024, if I remember correctly. It was.
Oh
Like
yeah, it was like fall of 24.
Yeah, months prior. It was just like I couldn't even call it a passion project. Just something that you just put in thought to paper and sent to me. I was like, this is well above my pay grade. And this is more than just a quick little promo video, similar to what we've had on YouTube. Obviously, even Round 7 thought the same. They had to hire an outside outside guy,
DP.
the DP, director of photography, who brought his 5-figure, maybe even 6-figure camera to film the whole thing over 3 days. So yeah, from the very beginning, I was like, this has the potential to be something much more than anything we've done, certainly anything that I was a part of. All the promo videos, the culture video that we did my first year, certainly the Leap video. So yeah, I was geared up to get that going, and then as we started meeting, realizing that it was going to be a much larger taking than we maybe anticipated. All the crews, the makeup per person,
Actors.
the actor. I mean,
It could have gone wrong. So many turns.
we're reviewing submissions, like demo reels and auditions, and we're like, are we qualified to do this? Yeah, we're qualified for doing this. And obviously, thankfully, we identified the lead actor, Antonio, who was just unbelievable. Obviously you're a movie buff. Certainly I am as well. I think everyone watching this has watched their share of movies, and immediately we were like, this kid's special.
He's the real deal.
He's a real actor.
You knew right away that guy.
Right away.
And yeah, the production, the 3 days. I mean,
He was so authentic. I remember talking to him. I was like, hey, do you got friends who've been in this? Because he asked me a couple questions. The first time I met him, well, the first scene we shot was him standing outside of the admissions room, and the scene was basically like, hey, this is your 3rd time being admitted somewhere. you have a F this attitude, you're pissed off, and you're expecting that this is going to be just like every other place that you've ever been to. And he just turned it on, and I remember just during a break, I remember being like, so you got some experience on
Yeah,
this?
where did
man?"
this come from?
And he's like, no, I'm like the nicest, normalest kid in the world. I never even knew what this
he
was.
is.
I Googled it a week ago.
Yep.
He's like, but I just started reading people's stories. And he was the real deal.
Incredible acting chops.
That could have gone, yeah, I mean, but most people were just volunteers. Even some of the
yeah.
professional actors came on for free
They
just
they
to
just
get
came on, yep.
exposure.
I think there were only
and-
2 paid actors in the entire thing. Antonio and
Yeah, and real quick
Corey
on
the Mom.
what you said kind of behind the scenes, the guy who shot it, Kane Tucker.
Kane Tucker.
I got a call a week before we were supposed to shoot. This thing was just like coming. We were just like scrambling, and it kept on. And I didn't tell Eric about what we were doing until after the premiere. I've since told him this. He knows this. I've joked with him. I was like, if this ended up bad, I wasn't ever going to show you this. But I remember a week before shooting, Greg calls me from Round 7 and says, I've
I think
been
it's
here
like the
1,000
Christmas
times.
train ride is going on. out there.
Maybe.
Yeah.
He's Frank driving kids
Just
around.
driving kids around.
So Greg calls me and goes, hey, this little bit of a budget change potentially, but we've got the opportunity to get a real DP, director of photography. He's worked on big stuff. He's got a camera that they use to shoot the Top Gun movies with. It's about a $105,000 camera. We've never had, and he's bringing with him like 5 guys for free.
Yeah.
And he read the script and he's got some connections to it. So he's giving us like 1/10 of his
Yeah,
cost.
a big.
Like his daily
big
rate would have been our whole budget for just him gracing us with his presence. But he actually, and then talking to him on set, he shared with everybody like he had gone to some residential programs as a kid, and some of them that were probably a little bit more like what we're seeing in the program.
Right.
And he just felt a connection to the script and wanted to help. So like that thing was blessed a few different ways with just the amount of people who made that happen. I mean, it's really. That was one of the coolest moments I've had in my career. It
It's amazing how it all came
was
together.
just really fun.
And I think the thing that I'll hang my hat on for as long as I do this work is this. We created this film to shed some light on a service, residential service, that oftentimes is shed in a poor light.
Right.
And we wanted to make sure that there are good residential providers out there doing excellent work, and we didn't want it to be New Hope centric. But I think what's important is I don't think there's anybody that serves at New Hope, involved in the film or work here, that want kids to be placed out of their home,
Right.
right? And I think the film is important, and it shows that there's good providers out there when kids need residential. My team all the time will not accept a kid who
Doesn't
deserves a lower level of care, does not need to be
Yep.
removed from their home, or can stay in their community. And I think that gets lost in the sauce sometimes too.
Yep.
Where folks see this, oh, they're just in it to cash checks or do whatever. And that's certainly not where our mission, vision, values, and our founder laid out what we're doing as far as work. We want kids.
Right.
We would love it to one day for this to be some sort of community-based mental health center where kids never have to come and live.
Right. No, and I always get this is where I get annoyed is that like two things can be true at the same time, right? One of my favorite phrases. So I just read an article yesterday, or 2 days ago, coming out of West Virginia, that there's 536 kids, foster kids, that are placed out of the state of West Virginia. 536. I think there's only like 600 kids in the state of West Virginia, just as human beings. 95. I mean, like I'm
That's a huge
joking, of
number.
course.
Yeah.
It's a crazy huge number. I think there's probably around 150 to 200 North Carolinian kids who are placed in somewhere that they should not be placed in, temporary shelters or hospitals or something like that. So we can fix that while also launching MST.
Right.
And we're not putting we're not putting like some moral judgment on because we're building residentials that we think that's how the system. That'd be like saying to the heart surgeon that they don't want people to invest in preventative care.
Correct.
It's like, no, actually, the heart surgeon's doing something extremely hard, extremely necessary. But yeah, if you asked him what his advice would be, he'd probably give some advice on how to avoid having to come in to his
O'Connor,
OR.
stop eating sausage every day.
Yeah, definitely lay off the sausage stuff. But so like, that's just what drives me nuts about our space is like this feeling of like shame or guilt about being. It's like no, I'm proud to be a surgeon, but yeah, now we're going to start doing some preventative care and some outpatient care because we'd love to prevent it at the earliest. But you see, we get 2,600 referrals a year. We don't
As of
create,
yesterday, it was 25, not like 25.98, almost on the nose, as of yesterday.
we don't create those referrals. We don't self-refer.
No.
So like we're taking what the system has given us, and so so I think the next thing that happened was probably West Virginia
Well, yeah, that was in
or
May.
MST. I mean, MST turned a year.
MST turned a year over the summer, but at West Virginia, because we had our open house in May, so that was finally a full, well, not quite a full goal, but
Yeah.
the
Took a little while to get licensed. Again,
Yeah,
talk about
yeah.
kind of pushing boulders up the hill. But as we talk right now, as we record our 40th episode, we got kids that are being supported in West Virginia. I think all of those kids' stories are pretty awesome. But maybe Mike, because I remember one of the weirdest or one of the most unique things when I first joined New Hope. I was like, we have a West Virginia staff? Why do we have a West
Yeah.
Virginia staff? I was like, we're down in South Carolina. Like I didn't.
We've
I didn't
always
know
served
that.
West Virginia kids because there's no services in that. There's no's obviously, it's
Yeah.
a bit dramatic, but
There's
there's
a-
not enough.
There's
right?
a supply and
not enough
demand
good quality.
issue. Right.
And that's always kind of bothered me. I'm like, what are we doing? Can we just serve these kids closer to home? And whether it's, I don't know who took the initiative, probably Barb introduced us to some state leaders up there, and we said we're interested in helping solve your problem, and now we're helping. We're in.
I remember that one was interesting too. I think it's worth sharing behind the scenes. I think you and I went up there on a Wednesday. I remember that meeting because I think it was in the winter or something. Because for some reason I had, and this sounds bougie, but I had like the heated seat situation going on.
Oh boy.
And you know how it automatically turns off after a little while? I kept overriding that for the full 5.5 hour drive there. And I got out and I had the sweat. I had the sweatiest
Drenched.
shirt, just a drenched button down shirt. I don't think I've worn a button down since then. But you
why.
and I,
I think I told you you're going to need a button down up here.
you did. You said go button down, and I drenched it. But you and I went to that meeting. It was like on a Wednesday, and we said, "Listen, we want to help solve. We want to be problem solvers. We are clearly somewhat like the recipients of an in-state problem."
Right.
And we'd already started to do some stuff in North Carolina, so we said, could we do something like that here? And I think they went and like huddled. They came back and said, we've got some leftover COVID money or something. We got $5 million, but you need to let us know in the next 24 hours if
It was
you're
quick.
Yeah, it was something like, it was a Wednesday afternoon. It's like, you gotta let us know by Friday at 9 if you're gonna commit to building 4 homes for us over the next 3 years.
And there's the nimbleness of New Hope and being family owned and operated. We had that answer.
We made one call.
Yep.
We made a couple calls. We weighed out pros and cons real quick. We said, let's go.
Yeah, we knew it was the right thing to do
100%.
for kids, families.
I mean, I think that's always what it is. 100% lined up with the mission, and then does the math work?
Does the math work, and do we have the operational capacity? And the answer was yes, no doubt.
Brought on incredible leaders. I mean, Shannon, Gabe, unbelievable people. Joseph, they brought on. Like, the team there is just so New Hope. It feels like they've been New Hopers for
Forever.
ever.
And the houses are beautiful homes that we would all love to live in.
Yep.
On beautiful pieces of property looking over mountains.
I loved going up there. I love that property. 16 acres, 1 home, coming up on 2 homes, maybe even a third someday on that property. We got 16 acres. It's
Yep.
a lot of space. But the first few kids admitted right before Thanksgiving, and one of them was actually a kid that graduated from our program
Here,
in South
stepping down.
Carolina, went to West Virginia, which is awesome. So he got 5 hours closer to home. And then I think 2 were kids that were living in hotels for months on end.
Yeah. So kids in hotels now going into a home-like setting with highly trained professionals. The other thing that just happened, it literally happened, I think, Friday, so a week ago or almost a week ago. We got a call from a Florida provider that there's a child in a West Virginia residential treatment center in Florida that's not ready to necessarily step out of residential treatment, but they need that child's going to do better closer to home. So Florida officials call us to see if we can take a look at this kid and get this kid so the system's starting to figure it out, starting to work.
Good.
And that might be a great story for for that kid, for that family, for our West Virginia team. So couldn't be more excited about that.
I feel like there's a lot. I mean, we're going to miss some stuff. I think we got to move to 2026. But some other cool things that happened this year. I love our Start with Compassion.
Start with compassion, Mr.
Initiatives.
Eric
Those were at
Baumgartner.
the beginning.
I think that's going to be something that we are known for far and wide in 2026 and beyond. We did some interesting like initiatives around Celebrate Safety. We brought on just some amazing
Joint Commission.
Joint Commission review, gold stars across the board.
The leadership
Invested in leadership. Award code was cool.
award call.
Was the hub this year or last year?
The
2
hub
years
was like
ago.
2 years ago.
Oh my
I
gosh,
remember
everything's
when we
really
first
The hub and
launched
award
soft
code are
launch.
finally getting married next year. It's going to be awesome. So if
Level
you're
Award
posting
Code
one
next
thing,
month.
they're going to post in the other. Yeah, I think we're going to have to increase our budget a bit because we spent about $60,000.
Yep. Doling out some good award compassion cash and commitment cash.
Yeah, I mean that's why this year felt like a lot. There's a lot of year. Unfortunately, I think the challenges that our youth and our families are facing are increasing. The data shows that. A lot of issues with anxiety and depression and issues of suicide risk are all increasing amongst young people, and the pressures that are being felt by our families have just never been higher. So New Hope also has to increase and has to evolve to meet this moment. But I see every day, I see miracles happen every day at all of our programs, legitimate miracles, and those stories just deserve to be told.
New Hope is no longer just a residential program anymore. So we have MST experts that are working in the community, in the homes with these youth and families, providing intensive community-based programming, making sure that we are addressing these behavioral and emotional concerns. Being able to support the families while they're in the home to give them the resources and the skills they need, and also not taking the youth out of the home, I think are all critical components of how MST is thriving now and will continue to thrive in the future as well.
One of my first cases was a 14-year-old boy. He was in a very, very hard situation. He was using drugs, he was using alcohol, he was sleeping literally in garbage at the home. Even the whole family had given up on him. So I started playing basketball with him, and then we started working together. I listened to him, I validate his feelings, and then he said, I'm a nobody. My family calls me a thief. My family wants me in jail. And I say, do you want that for yourself? He said, no. Then I'm here for you. He did clean himself from drugs. 2 weeks before the treatment ended, he gave me a clean drug test. He was going to school every day. And when I asked him, what motivated you to change? Tell me what happened within you. And he said, well, one day you were walking out of my house and I was looking at you, and then I said, this lady, she comes from Mexico, she does not know me, but she believes in me. What is stopping me to believe in myself? And then I just started to listen to you, and that's how.
New Hope is on the front end of what the transition in residential care will look like for North Carolina. This small home-based environment, it allows for like these one-to-one relational opportunities. So the youth here spend time with the staff members in the living area, they spend time at the dining table, they spend time in the kitchen. It allows for our youth to get individualized attention and also establish healthy relationships. Research has shown us that healthy relationships tend to have a positive correlation with high self-esteem and emotional resilience. We have essentially like a graduation wall, and each child leaves a handprint on that wall. When those hands start adding up, you're able to see that, man, there are other youth that have been successful in this program. Why can't that be me?
It's not always about academic and curriculum work. While that is one of the outcomes we want as a school district, for students to be future ready, college ready, career ready, it's hard to do that when students aren't at their full best and when there's pieces of their maturation that is missing. So when there's trauma involved, when there's mental health issues or disorders involved in students, You know, it's hard to get to the academic learning piece. That's where MST steps in. That's where New Hope steps in. I'll tell you this one thing, it's probably the best kept secret in a lot of different places. In this role that I've come into, I didn't know that MST existed. And I wish I would have known about this in other spaces I've worked in. But this county, this city, this community is very fortunate to have something like this.
New Hope's mission will never change. We will always lean in where others lean out. But we are becoming more than we've ever been. And we are growing our footprint all across the Southeast while deepening our impact. We're getting more upstream and keeping families together. We're giving back to our communities and helping shape our system for the better. New Hope is on the move. And we are just getting started.
Yeah, with 2026, what's the outlook?
2026. Mike, I mean, there's some things we can say, can't
Some things we
say
can and
by
cannot
the
say
time that this is
covert.
released.
Probably not by the time this is released. No,
You gonna release this pretty quick?
I'd like to get it out before the end of the year. That'd be
I
nice.
think the message is that there's several great opportunities on the horizon in the state of North Carolina where we've traditionally been a very strong partner for
Right.
kids and families and the systems that support those kids and families. And I'm definitely excited about that, being a Wake County, Apex, North Carolina guy, and making sure that we're expanding our reach there. I think that's exciting news. I think part of that exciting news is leading straight into possibly an opportunity with DJJ involved youth
Yeah.
and helping that system out. That's really where that's where I started my career.
Yeah.
Working with JJ kids, juvenile justice involved youth and their families. Excited about that. And then possibly some other Southeast United States opportunities. Again, where it makes sense, where we're going to make a difference, where we can have quality outcomes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the DJJ stuff is exciting because I think that is so squarely in our mission. And, you know, when Dr. Orvin was coming up, the JJ system looked very different, obviously, than it does now. But when he kind of wrote some of our founding documents around basically leaning into kids that other people don't lean into and those that other people can't serve or won't serve, that's a population that just like smacks right there. So I love the idea. Healthy Blue Partnership,
Yep.
trying to go, again, I do think, you know, North Carolina is, there's a lot of people in North Carolina who recognize us for what we are, which is a North Carolina provider that happens to be located, our biggest program over state lines. But I think that's going to be starting to change in a big way in 26.
That narrative will change. I'm pretty confident of that.
MST is kind of like at its infancy right now, but I think we'll be talking about MST in the same breath as all of our other programs sooner than later.
I think you said it the other day during a town hall. One day I think we're going to be known as something more than just a residential, but we'll be known as more of a community-based
I
provider.
think in some corners that is 100% what people are going to know us for. Because, again, you know, residential rightfully serves 1% of 1% of kids need this level of care.
Right.
MST programs that are going into homes right as they're starting to struggle, that's a big net. And so we could serve thousands of kids annually through those kind of programs.
That's fantastic. I love it. I love it.
So, no, I think, and then there might be some more stuff even on like the production. We're going to keep on podcasting.
Certainly going to keep. I'd love to do more of these in-person episodes. If not, you know, a combination of the three of us. Maybe we outsource it to some others within the organization that might want to record their own stuff. Obviously,
Might be a studio.
This could be a studio.
It could be.
I don't know.
It's a little, yeah. We might have a quieter space.
We're in front of the loading dock.
Yeah.
Forklifts bringing in pallets in.
I didn't know we had rolling carts the way that we apparently do.
That size. What are they carrying?
Yeah. We rolled with some stuff this year too. Medicaid cuts, changes
cuts.
in huge Medicaid transformation, foster care transformation, foster care reform. I mean, this is one of the things, again, I've not been doing this forever, but 15 years is starting to feel like a long time. It's long enough to know that, like, the system's always going to keep changing. Medicaid, DSS, DJH, it's all going to change every year, and yet it's always kind of the same. Like, I think if you're a good provider who really cares,
Quality work.
you're going to be fine, and there's going to be tons of opportunities if you want them.
100%, I agree with that. And I was telling my team today during our team meeting, like, my team's job is to build relationships with those who need our services and those who support those who need our services. I said, it doesn't matter how many people we need to do quality work at the
Right.
facility, or else what we do is meaningless.
Right.
We're just a support piece for those individuals who work at this facility, who work in West Virginia, Dallas, MST. We're just, hey, we're going to make sure people get connected to the services that are appropriate for their child. If it's not New Hope, it's going to be somebody else. So quality number one, and everything else will follow. And Jay says that all the time.
Right. All right. Well, usually Patrick says this, but
Patrick,
I might take this one.
It's being
Take it.
stolen.
Yeah, I think I'm going to steal the line.
All right.
Going in. So excited about, guys. It's been a good 40.
Great 40.
Great.
That's
40.
crazy. 40 episodes.
40 episodes.
That's pretty awesome. So I think to close, I would say let's all three break off what is the stuff that matters. So Patrick,
I thought you were going to do like a break it down for us,
Saved
like
by
my
the Bell
kids'
style. Everybody,
basketball
yeah, everybody
team.
come in.
Swords.
All right, 3,
That's
2.
my kids'
Let's go
basketball
start. Let's go start with Mr. Puzo. Patrick, for you, what is the stuff that matters?
It's funny. I asked this question to all of our
Having a
guests.
soundproof room.
Yeah, exactly. Soundproof would really be the stuff. High quality audio. No, I asked this question to all of our guests, and now being asked it, I could see how much pressure that they must feel. Like, amazingly enough, everyone answers this perfectly.
They nail it.
They nail it. They nail it every time, and I'm struggling.
They do.
Because it's such an open-ended question. I think the stuff that matters, at least for us, is for me specifically, as it pertains to this space and the podcast in general, is just sharing stories, the positive, focusing on the good, because I think it's so easy to skew negative.
Right.
Certainly in this space, and we touched on the Google reviews of the last week or so, and how easy it is to just share negative experiences and
Right.
want to take something down when they're seemingly at a high point. But highlighting the successes, focusing on the positives, even though that there are naturally just a lot of negatives and sad moments when it comes to some of this stuff. Because Miss Connors, we talked about her already. The staff here, the core of what makes New Hope really operate and function. The people that have been here for decades and are doing great work for the right reasons. That's the stuff that really matters. And obviously, it starts from the top with Jay. I think his leadership,
Right.
being the family-owned
100%.
company organization, his attitude and approach to everything, the expansion. I mean, we already touched on West Virginia a little bit, but the 2 homes that are one's currently being built, the other one's already exists and being renovated. I was just up at Dallas last week, and they have 1 kid up there currently, but just seeing like the family knit environment that's there. There were like a handful of staff. Xavier now is doing a tremendous job leading that home, but that model in general, like the transition group home settings, I think is really winning. It's really working. Just seeing what I did last week up there, how everyone's kind of coming together. That type of model, I think the future is incredibly bright. So trying to highlight all of it is going to fall on my shoulders quite a bit, but it's an exciting time.
Mike, for you, what's the stuff that matters?
For me, I think probably maybe even a little bit bigger, and it's not really New Hope driven thought. It's really what's best for kids and families. Kids and families matter. And I tell people all the time, you get on social media and people are complaining and my side versus your side and what's wrong with the world and this is the right opinion and this is. And so for me, I try to relay to the normies. You spend a week in my office with my team culling through hundreds of referrals for mental health service for kids, and you can clearly identify very quickly that what matters is early childhood development for kids, connecting to a loved one, someone who's going to care for them. And I think my opinion's based on my experience professionally, but as a parent of 3 awesome kids and as a husband, what really, really matters is kids being taken care of, loved, cared, and supported so they can live their best lives in a setting that is free of trauma, that is free of things that'll create issues for kids beyond their control and their family's control. I think nothing else matters except for taking care of kids and making sure they feel loved, cared, and supported. That's what I think.
No.
And quarter zips. You'll notice Puzo and I are wearing the quarter zips. Quarter
Yeah,
zips
thanks for the
matter.
call, guys. Thanks for the heads up.
You wouldn't wear it.
I would never
no.
wear it. I don't know what it is.
And
No way.
back to you.
All right.
Stuff that matters.
Stuff that matters.
I think doing what you love to do matters. I think we get one life, and I think everybody's got some kind of a purpose and a mission for that life. And I think when you find it, you know it. I think I've found mine doing this work, and it's just such an honor. And I think I'm surrounded by people who are living their mission and have found what they love to do and are doing it with passion and with humor and with energy, and that just creates good stuff, man. We just need more of that. So I think the world needs more of that. So again, I feel blessed that every day that's a new day, I get pumped to go to work.
Yeah.
I get pumped to figure out, like, what are we going to do at New Hope today is my energy every day. And that's awesome. And I think that matters. Again, I think, I guess I was going to say I feel sad for, but it's more, I just feel lucky
To be where
that I get to do what I do, where I get to do it, is just incredibly, it's a blessing. And I think that matters a great deal. We spend a heck of a lot of our lives
At work.
and that this doesn't feel like it for me, but yeah, so that's awesome.
Happy 40th, gentlemen.
Happy 40th, guys. We don't have any other guests booked at this point, so maybe this is it.
That's gonna be it.
This is it for
40th final
2025.
episode. Thanks for hanging with us.
Happy holidays, everybody.
All right, we'll see you in 2026.
Yes.
Beauty.
All right, guys.